What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be diving into tuning, weapon tuning quickly, and I want to show you kind of the differences between some of the good attachments that I've found, what they do without tuning, with tuning, and then some different types of tuning. It shouldn't take long, so I'm going to just dive right into it. But first we're going to take a look at the TAC 56, which is the SCAR. I think this is going to be a really good gun to use in Warzone next week when it comes out finally. This is kind of the build that I've kind of come up with. The only thing about this build is that you lose out on the sound suppression on your muzzle, which is okay. I think in Warzone 2, I think we're gonna see kind of, except for maybe snipers, everyone's gonna start straying away from sound suppression just because the attachments aren't really good enough and they really hurt your recoil. So I'm gonna jump into the firing range with this setup here. You can see we are not tuned right now. If you have an attachment that's tuned, it'll have this little icon right here. So I'll show you really quick. It'll show a little icon on the actual attachment that it's tuned. So you can see right now we are completely not tuned on this loadout, and I'm going to show you first at 10 meters how it shoots, then 20 meters, I think 25 meters, and then 50 meters. All right, so again we have this TAC 56. Here's the 10 meters, there's the 25 meters, and then there's the 50 meters. It's not terrible. The muzzle really does help hone in the recoil at the long ranges, but you can see we're able to do that in about 21 bullets. I'm using the 60 round mag here. So with pretty good recoil control, we can do that in about 61 bullets. So let's first jump into the optic here. I'm going to show you kind of the differences between the far and the close. So what I've found as a general rule of thumb is to always on your optic put ADS speed on there. And then I like the far sight, but I'll show you the differences really quickly. I'm going to take off some of these other attachments just so you can see the optic on itself. All right, so I have 3 loadouts here. The first one we're going to take a look at is no tuning. All right, so I did some testing and the differences between the tuning is actually more prominent on a sight more like the red dot or something. The VLK doesn't really change all that much, and that's probably just because it's more of like a larger sight, obviously a higher zoom. So again, this is going to be the SCAR with the Cronin Mini Pro, which if you want to know how to get this sight, let me know. It's a really good one, and this is going to be with no tuning whatsoever on it. So now I'm going to go in and tune the eye position to close. Now the sight's going to be like just slightly closer to you, which kind of makes it a little bit bigger. And again, when I'm editing, I'm going to try and draw like a box around these so it's a little bit more easy to visualize. All right, so now we have the far sight, and as you can tell, it is way smaller. Here's just a final side-by-side so that you can see the differences between the distance and what tuning does to the gun. So like I said before, I like to tune with far and then aimed out sight speed on the left, and you kind of have these sliders here that you can go left and right with. All the optics, I think it's going to be far, close, and then aimed out sight speed and flinch resistance. Trust me, flinch resistance is a trap in this game. It's non-existent. Do not prioritize attachments with flinch resistance. I put a 60 round mag on. You can't tune a mag, but that's okay. Ammunition type, I'm going to go high velocity, put more bullet velocity on there, and damage range. For your muzzle, like I say, we're kind of getting away from that typical suppressor meta type thing and going to something else. But if you do want a suppressor, then I suggest something like the Echoline GSX, and for that I would probably tune aiming idle stability and aim down sight speed. But I'm going to go to my preferred build, which gives you horizontal and vertical recoil control, which is the RF Crown 50. And again, I'm going to do the same thing, aiming idle stability and aim down sight speed. For the barrel, I always go with the longest one. And on this one, I also go with the aim down sight speed, but we go up to the top with the recoil steadiness. So there's kind of a pretty basic build for the SCAR or most of the ARs to kind of give you an idea of how you want to tune them. I'm going to show you the differences between a tuned loadout and a non-tuned loadout. So definitely took me a couple more bullets to hit the non-tune, and you got to keep in mind as well that you're losing out on bullet velocity and damage range when you don't tune some of these attachments, especially like the high velocity rounds. Bullet velocity in this game is huge. Trust me, you need bullet velocity. Some of the guns actually feel like complete potatoes without it. I want to jump over to an SMG, in particular the Mini Bach, which in my opinion is going to be a meta SMG because of its big clip size at 64 rounds default without having to add a magazine on there, and the damage profile on it is really nice. So my typical build is going to be the armor piercing rounds, the FSS OLV laser. You could do something like the PEC box or whatever, PQ box, the Cronin Mini Pro, which is a pretty essential sight, the Oderzat stock. You can obviously do a stock list too, but I'm going to explain this a little bit more in a second here. And then I go with the True Tac grip, which gives you more sprint to fire speed and aim down sight speed. Now jumping into tuning on this, I'm going to first tune the grip, and what I want this to do is basically for sprint to fire speed and ADS speed. The TTKs being so quick, you really need to make sure that you're able to pull your gun to your face in a close encounter as quick quick as possible. So now for the stock, I really like this stock because what it does is gives you aim walking speed, which is strafe speed, as well as some sprint to fire speed. So we're gonna max that out as well. And we're gonna max out the aim walking steadiness on this. You can go aim down sight speed on the left slider. That's okay too. I like the aim walking speed. So the strafe speed kind of makes you a harder target to hit when you're strafing left to right. And the aim walking steadiness is gonna help with that idle sway while you're walking in ADS. With the Chrono Mini Pro, you go with the far. I go with the far and the aim down sight speed. And like I said, most of the sights are going to be that same tune. And then for the armor piercing rounds, hollow point is different than it was in Vanguard, so I don't like to fall into that trap. Like I said, for the overpressured rounds, flinch is negligible in this game at best, so giving your target flinch isn't really going to do much. For the armor piercing rounds, I like to tune up the bullet velocity and the damage range, which is pretty much what you're going to want to do if you put any ammo type on this gun. So there's a couple other things you can do. Instead of like the OLV laser, you can also put on like a barrel or a muzzle if you want to stay off the minimap or something. So we're going to jump into the firing range to show you the differences here. So this custom loadout 1 is the tuned one, and then custom loadout 2 is the non-tuned one. So first I want to just show you at range how little sway is on this gun right now. And you can see that the optics a little bit further out as it would be on the non-tuned version. So you can see kind of the sprint to fire speed, how good it really is. And then the aim down sight speed is pretty good as well. Could be a little bit better, but I definitely do like it. And then you can see your 10 to 20 meters, 10 to 25 meters is super easy. 50 meters, it obviously gets a little dicey, but that's okay. Aim for the head at 50 meters, you'll get a kill in like half a second anyways. So again, here is the aim down sight with the mini Bach fully tuned. And then here it is with the mini Bach not tuned. You can tell we actually have a ton of idle sway. The optic is a little bit closer, and I'll show you the recoil patterns here. Also a little bit slower on your left to left strafe, and we'll go over some of the recoil patterns here. So even at 20 meters, 25 meters, it gets a little dicey. So I imagine the 50 meters is going to be, yeah, I mean, as you saw there, we barely got that done with one clip at 50 meters. And that's an untuned mini Bach with the same exact attachment, it's just not tuned. So that's going to wrap up the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed this little breakdown of tuning, how it can help you out at the long ranges, short ranges, and just overall in general. Those two words mean the same things, but just ignore it. If you enjoyed, be sure to subscribe for more and like the video. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.